Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And just a few hours ago, the Coil CEO, Stefan Thomas, and David Schwartz, the Ripple CTO, they joined each other on the Blockstars podcast. Yeah, I'm telling you, if David ever wanted a role of the blockchain top interviewer, he'd be a shoo-in. He's such a natural at it. I really enjoy listening to him do these podcasts. And what I realized in listening to this is that these two guys are living legends. Yeah, not only because they were part of the early Bitcoin ecosystem, but they're going to go down in history as making the first fundamental improvements to blockchain. And I think we are just witnessing live history in the making. I also occasionally pop onto Quora to see what questions David is fielding. You know, he takes any question and then he gives very often some very profound answers. This one was really good and I wanted to share it with you. He was asked on Sunday, how can I find an investor if I have no network? Which are the possible ways to present my ideas to potential investors? And David answered, you don't want to present ideas to investors. Investors don't invest in ideas. Ideas are a dime a dozen. So true, right? You have to have some sort of traction and a team put in place. And yeah, you just can't pitch an idea. Those days are over. You might have been able to do it 21 years ago in 1999, but no longer. And Emi is on the weekly Wednesday XRP Ripple review on FX Coin. Every Wednesday, they do kind of a Ripple weekly review, and I'll put a link to it in the comment section below. It's a very nice short interview with Emi. And the Blockchain Association, you know, this was formed as a unified voice for the cryptocurrency industry. They're located in Washington, D.C., so they really focus on regulatory advancement. And the members, well, they include Grayscale, Ripple, eToro, TokenSoft, Polychain Capital, Digital Currency Group, Maker, Kraken, Cumberland, and a few others. And they've been, working with people like the CFTC and the Office of the Comptroller of Currency, which really made that improvement recently with the classification that it's okay for banks to custody virtual currencies. I'm sure that they had a part in getting that change made. Now, Binance just announced 2 days ago that they are going to join the association. And of course, Binance US is led by Catherine Coley, who previously was with Ripple. And at that time, she was responsible for the XRP institutional holdings. And it's just kind of, well, I just don't have any words for it. There's always a little bit of drama in this space. But as of today, Coinbase withdraws from the Blockchain Association. And I don't know if it's because of the rival Binance US joined the group. I don't know, but it just makes me want to just go, So, with all the red that we have seen in the last 24 hours in crypto, was this the short burst only in a bear market rally? I don't know. The market might be losing some confidence. Yesterday, the S&P snapped its 7-day winning streak, and it was really drugged down by tech shares. So asset bubbles, when they burst, oh man, the damage is really scary. And the Fed has been pumping, this printed money into the system, creating a lot of zombie companies, which is totally not sustainable. We need to see organic growth. So I think everybody is starting to ask, what is the end game? Apple, which is one of the 7 companies that are in that top 7 to make up that $3.5 trillion market cap, They haven't seen earnings growth in a couple of years, but the stock just keeps exploding higher and higher and higher, as you see this 1 year view. Now they did pull back a little bit yesterday, but this is just not normal. Now Grayscale, however, thinks different. In addition to their webinar last week, they also came out with some materials for training financial advisors on digital currencies in the form of a PDF. And it's 22 pages. It's a detailed analysis of the market. And well, it cuts the new asset classes into uncorrelated categories when it comes to traditional markets. I'm not convinced, actually. This still needs to be proven. So the very interesting part of this PDF is for me to see that the amount of crypto into your portfolio was broken down into these three groups. High risk, if you're high risk tolerant, if you're a moderate risk in terms of your tolerance level, and then a low risk. And it went 5, 3, 1, respectively. So the hypothetical simulated performance shown here, looking in the rear view mirror, if you'd done this in these percentages from 2013 to 2020, with 1%, you would have seen a 19.2% improvement. With 3%, it would have given you a 55.2% improvement, and with 5%, you would have seen an 86.6% improvement. I wonder what category I would fall in, because I have a lot more than 5%. I wonder if they would call that exposure something like insanely tolerant. I'm not sure. But if I were to take you to a very interesting video with the high-profile analysis, Sven Hedrick, I think is how he says his name, and Raoul Paul. He was formerly with Goldman, and he was with GLG, which is one of the world's largest hedge fund. This channel that he started back in 2014 called Real Vision is good, very good. And Sven was a guest. He's very bright. And he spoke to the points of our economic reality that drives home many points for crypto. I think we must stick to projects that not only offer utility, but will be in demand no matter how ugly the global economy gets. And so this portion of their discussion was quite riveting when the question of what would the world look like if the central banks lost control. I want you to just hear his talking to this point, because we're talking about a very potential, historic, huge realignment here. Have a listen.
If any of these central banks were to raise rates to just 1% tomorrow, everything would collapse. So what is it that they fear? So let's go to a world where the central banks, because I have a theory, and it's not proven, that the central banks aren't omnipotent, that in fact, that if you look at Europe and you look at Japan, that in the end the central banks don't manage anything. What they've done is change behavioral expectations currently, particularly in the United States. So let's say monetary policy suddenly doesn't work, because here we've got an economy where you can't really generate jobs in an economy with a virus, right? So you've got a structural issue here. What does it look like if the central banks do lose control and they aren't able to continue with the magic trick of driving expectations higher? What world does that go into?
I would probably call it the great unwind, right? I mean, look, one of the challenges I think the Fed has here in particular, and all the central banks, is typically you want to be able to build ammunition. I think that was the effort of raising rates in the United States, to have the tools to actually incentivize the economy. That was what worked in 2009 to a certain degree. But because they were not able to go very far, going 3 rate cuts in 2019 and going to 0 mean, they came up from a very the lowest base ever, right? So I actually question the efficacy right now already in terms of what these rate cuts to zero actually bring about in terms of a economic bounce. What they've managed to do so far, still successfully, is again raise asset prices in the face of fundamentals not supporting these levels. Let's be clear: if the Fed hadn't thrown in $3 trillion in liquidity and dropped rates to zero and jawboned every step of the way, the S&P, I think we can all agree on this, the S&P wouldn't be anywhere near where it is now, right? So that they are still able to do. I think the issue is, when does the market lose confidence? And if the market were to lose confidence, I think then ultimately you end up in a situation where indeed you get the historic realignment, 50%, 75% market cap.
So the issue is,
yeah, so this historic realignment of the possibility of a 50 or 75% loss in retracement. So this is why I think it must be said that find a project that has utility, even in the worst of times. All right, everybody, we are jumping to the fluff. Yes. I'm so impressed with the innovation that has sparked from our current global situation. And this is a Brazilian restaurant chain in Tokyo called Barbacoa, and they have a new takeout. It's got a disposable stove, and it comes also too with meat and sauce for cooking at home. So this set, it will feed about 2 to 3 people, and it sells for, wait for it, it sells for 65 US dollars. Well, it comes with charcoal and tongs. You can increase your meat if you like. You can do that for about $18, and you can add a salad for about $7. It comes even with an option of plate and forks and steak knives for about $4. Yeah, I think it's pretty creative. I've never seen anything like this, a disposable grill like this. So I do like the innovative thought of how they're handling their current situation. I wonder how many they're selling. And tonight is really peak night around the world to see as many as 40 or 50 shooting stars per hour. The meteor showers, I think, are going to be spectacular. If you're lucky enough to have dry weather, it should be very fun. So keep that in mind. And then there is a lot of fun ukiyo-e animated GIFs that are out there. The ukiyo-e are woodblock prints that were made in the 1600s, 1700s, and 1800s. And this is one that actually was when there was some stargazing going on from somebody's, I don't know, it looks like a business to me. It doesn't look like an interior of a home. But the animated gift has been added with the train rushing by, which I just love. And I have to show you this one here. Oh, I have to move myself. This is one where a daimyo, which is the warlord, he's, of course, of a particular domain, and he has all his I don't know what you would call these guys. They're not servants. They're people who are totally under the control of that particular warlord in that domain. But he is meeting with all his subjects and has a PowerPoint presentation going on behind him. Oh, this is so funny. And I have one more to share with you. This one is very clever and very cute too. So we've got a street scene with a merchant here. The merchant is on a laptop, and then the older woman is checking her smartphone here. And this guy is shopping what looks to be like some PCs, and maybe a TV is there, and he's changing the channel. Of course, you know, this street scene is coming from probably the late 1600s. So that's why this is also funny. And then this sign up here on top that's advertising the shop's name, like an electronics goods store. And they are walking out with their bags. And if you check out the buildings, they all are adorned in some sort of neon decorative lighting. I just love this twisted stuff. All right, everybody. Yes, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.